Gwen Ifill is one of the most distinguished female African-American reporters in American history, having worked for the Washington Post, the New York Times, NBC, and PBS. She was the first African-American woman to moderate a vice presidential debate, and in 2013, Ifill and Judy Woodruff became co-anchors and co-managers of the PBS NewsHour show, becoming the first female anchors to have their own news program.
If you want a breakthrough, if you want to have attention paid, if you want to accomplish your goals and your dreams, you've got to be willing to work hard. What's the point otherwise?
Ifill was the fifth of 6 children to 2 immigrant parents. She had to work very hard to make her way to college in Boston, where she went to an all-female college.
I went to Simmons College in Boston, women's college. You know, it's funny, I didn't set out to go to a women's college. I wanted to major in journalism, and only after I graduated, actually, did I appreciate the value of having gone to an all-women's college. I'm now a complete hard-ass about it, because I think that there was something that we learned in being able to raise our hands and not compete with boys. We didn't have to dress up for the boys. We didn't, but yet we had a very lively social life because there were so many other schools in town. But we ran things. We learned that we were in charge of the clubs. We were going to be the valedictorian. We were going to be the ones who did it all. I was in college in the 1970s, and we had all just come of age. This had all flowered, this idea that we as women could do whatever we wanted. And so we were at a place which didn't pride itself on just getting a husband to support you. It was a career school. And we were taught how to go out and do for ourselves. And so in a strange way, looking back on it now, it enforced everything I had been taught growing up.
And so Ifill went on to do just that. She broke barriers for not only female reporters, but African-American reporters. She asked the tough questions when she needed to, and she made an important place for herself in journalistic history. Always putting her career first, Ifill never married, never had any children, just always looked forward to the future of what was next in her career as a journalist.
I'm not the kind of person who pounds on tables and says, "You didn't answer my question," because I don't even understand what that gets you. Debates are set pieces. Everybody comes with something to say. They all come with a goal. Your responsibility on behalf of the audience is to get them to go a little farther, is to get them to be enlightening. And inserting myself in the story and making myself the fight doesn't make sense. In my first vice presidential debate, I asked them both about the rising incidence of AIDS among heterosexual black women. And neither of them had an answer. They both went, "Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know." And I didn't have to say another thing. To this day, people still come to me and say, "Thank you for asking that question. They showed they didn't care about this issue." Okay, I've done my job here. But my job is to mostly stay out of the way.
Ifill left a legacy as a very respected reporter, and her untimely death last week just shows how much people appreciated what she did for journalism.
Because Gwen was a dear friend, a former NBC colleague. She would, pardon me. Gwen would want me to get this together. She was a newspaper reporter through and through. She was a newspaper reporter in Boston, and then in Baltimore, a city she dearly loved, and then here in Washington, D.C. at the Washington Post. And she made the transition to television here at NBC News. She came here in 1994. She covered Congress and politics for NBC News. And then in 1999, she took over the long-running PBS program Washington Week, which was then called Washington Week in Review, and it became Washington Week with Gwen Ifill. She had so many rewards and awards in her office, you could barely see out the window. She was honored by all kinds of journalism organizations. She was one of the most successful women in journalism. She was a member of the National Association of Black Journalists Hall of Fame.
Michelle and I want to offer our deepest condolences to Gwen Ifill's family and all of you, her colleagues, on her passing. Gwen was a friend of ours. She was an extraordinary journalist. She always kept faith with the fundamental responsibilities of her profession, asking tough questions, holding people in power accountable, and defending a strong and free press that makes our democracy work.